Training and exercise. Isotonic training. The aims of this podcast are to define the term isotonic training and to help understanding of that term by giving some relevant examples. Now, to understand isotonic training, firstly have to describe isotonic contractions, because isotonic training involves these particular type of muscle contractions. An isotonic contraction happens when a muscle contraction shortens, and this produces a movement of the limbs. So if you shorten the bicep, what will happen is your elbow will bend, your wrist will come up towards your shoulder. In order to straighten your arm, you need an isotonic contraction of your tricep, and as your tricep shortens, your arm will straighten. Isotonic contractions happen because the muscle shortens. This shortening movement creates the movement in the limb. It's also called an antagonistic movement, and it requires a pair of muscles. So like in the example I just gave, in order to move at the elbow, you need both a bicep and a tricep. And to move the arm up at the elbow, you need to contract the bicep. To straighten the arm at the elbow, you need to move the tricep. So isotonic training also requires antagonistic movement of a pair of muscles. Weight training exercises largely deal in isotonic contractions, and most of the weight training exercises that you probably do are a form of isotonic training. If you think of the example of the bench press, where you're lying down on your back and you lift the weights up in front of your chest, your isotonic movement here, when you straighten your arms, it happens in your tricep, and as you bring it back down, there's some control and you get some isotonic contraction of the bicep. You've also got the bicep curl and you've also got the leg press, but there's a whole range of weight training exercises that use isotonic training. If you train without weights, think of the press up, the sit up, or when you do chins, they require some isotonic contractions and are forms of isotonic training. The advantage of isotonic training are that they strengthen the muscles for a full range of movement. You can easily choose exercises to suit your needs. You can use weights, we've already described that, or you can just do a body circuit such as press-ups and sit-ups, so it can also be cheap. There are some disadvantages. This form of training can make muscles sore, and although you do gain strength, it's not gained evenly through the movement. Your strength is actually gained at the weakest point in the action. So for isotonic training, you need to remember that isotonic contractions are where muscle contractions produce movement in the limbs.